We're now on 2.4, which is page 7. So now we're going to review point-slope form, which we did yesterday, okay? If you recall yesterday, what is the point-slope form? Ooh, that is the point-slope form.
So y minus y1 equals n times x minus x1.
Good. So we are going to, okay, we are going to use both point-slope form and slope-intercept form to find the equation of the line that passes through -5, 2 with a slope of 3/5. All right, point-slope form. So first of all, you have a point and you have a slope, which is perfect for the point-slope form. So you start with y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. I'm going to assume you guys are pretty good with your negative signs and stuff. Minus 5 is going to end up with a +5. So you can just do that in your head. You don't have to write it all out. Okay, and then from there, please change it all to a slope-intercept form. So you're going to have to distribute that 3/5 and so on. If you are starting with the slope-intercept form, that is y equals mx plus b. What you're going to do is find b. So y is 2, slope is 3/5, x is -5, and then you have a plus b. And then from there, find b, and then again, find the slope-intercept form. So go ahead and do those two. Figure out what the slope-intercept form for both should be the same. And then let me check it. Okay, so both equations, no matter how you solve it, you should get y equals 3/5 x plus 5. Okay, next, let's talk about the standard form. Standard form is a particular form of the equation. Do you guys remember?
I remember the name of standard forms.
Huh? Okay, you remember the name, but not the form. Okay. No one?
Isn't that ax plus by equals
Yes, correct. Thank you, Matt. That was very unsure, but that was correct. So ax plus by equals c, and there are some specific things about this equation or this form that you have to remember. First, a, b, and c are integers. A, b, and c are integers. So if I get a 1/2 as a, is that okay? No. Is 1/2 an integer? No. We have to change that. Okay, so a, b, and c, all of your coefficients are integers. Second, a is positive. So there's a lot of requirement on a. A has to first be an integer. Second, it has to be positive. All right, so if we look at the equation as it is right now, y equals 3/5 x plus 5. Is that okay? No, there's a lot of things wrong with it, right? First, it's not even in the right form. Second, there's some fractions. Okay, so we need to change it to ax plus by equals c. What do you guys want to do first to change it into that form? So a lot of things you can do.
subtract 5 and then subtract y
Why subtract 5?
to get it.
But remember my form is x and y on one side, number on the other side. So I actually don't need to move the 5.
Can you multiply by 5?
Okay, so we can multiply by 5. So let me rewrite this. Y equals 3/5 x plus 5. I can multiply by 5. What's the point of multiplying by 5?
Get rid of fractions.
Right, we don't want fractions. To get rid of all the fractions at once, we multiply by the least common denominator. In this case, there is only one denominator, so you just multiply by that denominator. So that's 5. So that's 5y equals 3x plus 25. Please don't forget to multiply 5 times 5. A lot of people always forget that last integer. All right, are we in our form? No, what do we have to do? Subtract 3x. Okay, I'm going to put it in order. Minus 3x plus 5y equals 25. Am I in the correct form?
No.
No.
It's not positive.
A has to be positive. A has to be positive. So what do we have to do to make that -3 positive?
Negative times -1.
Times or divide by -1. Both of them are the same thing. So we're going to change all the signs. So that is 3x minus 5y equals -25. Okay, now we are in standard form. Okay, again, A, B, C, the coefficients, they are all integers. Second, A has to be positive. All right, let's try one. Using both point slope and slope intercept form, find the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. So first thing is you gotta find slope. Okay, use both forms and then find the equation. Let me check it before you go on to standard form. Okay, using any of those 2 forms, your equation is still 3x minus 7. Changing it to standard form is 3x minus y equals 7. And sorry about the notes, I forgot that I have this down here. So if you want to just write it down here again, A, B, C are integers. And then A is positive. Okay, so this is a quick review of your 3 forms of equation. We are now going to review. Actually, let's have you do this from memory. Write out those 3 forms from memory. So without looking at your notes, can you remember what those 3 forms are? All right, let's start with Isaiah. What is the slope-intercept form?
Y equals mx plus b.
Good. Okay, Karis, what is the point-slope form?
Y minus y1 equals n times x minus x1.
Mm-hmm. And then, Jackson, do you know the standard form? Say that again. That's good, but that's the requirement. What about the form? Like the equation. No.
AX plus BY
Equals
C.
C. Good. All right. Now let's review parallel and perpendicular. Parallel lines, basically they look like this. They are parallel to each other. They have what kind of slope? Good. Perpendicular means they're 90 degrees to each other. Perpendicular lines have what kind of slope?
Opposite reciprocal.
Yeah, opposite reciprocal. What does opposite mean? Good. Opposite means negative. So some people say negative reciprocal. Reciprocal, so for example, if I have 2/3, what is the reciprocal? Reciprocal. 3/2. Okay, 3/2 is the reciprocal. If we are making it opposite, then we make it negative. All right, so let's look at this example. Given the equation of the line y equals 6x minus 2, what is the equation of the line that is A, parallel and through the point 1, -3? That means they are giving you this line somewhere like this. You want another line that's parallel but goes through this specific point. Okay, so first, if we want a parallel line, no matter what, we have to look at that original equation and say, what is the original slope? What is the slope of the line that they give you?
6.
Good. What is the parallel slope? 6, because it's the same slope. Okay, we want the same slope, but it has to go through this new point. So create an equation. So go ahead and do that. Okay, you can start with any form you want. I like the point slope form, so I'm going to do y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So that is y plus 3 equals 6x minus 6. So that is y equals 6x minus 9. Next, the same line, but we want it to be perpendicular to that and through the same point. So we know the slope of the original line is 6. What is the perpendicular slope? Yeah, opposite reciprocal, so -1/6. Okay, we want it to have a slope of -1/6 and goes through that same point. Again, let me know when you're done, and I'm going to ask you to not use your calculator for all your fractions. Okay, we need to not be afraid of fractions and just do it in our head or do it on the side. All right, the answer is y equals negative 1/6x minus 17/6. Good. Next. Just graphing this line. You guys can do this. So, graphing review. All right, so you probably know how to graph this. So you start at -3, it goes up 1/4. And then just draw a straight line through. All right, okay. We are just gonna really quickly do all of the practices. What is the equation of the line perpendicular to that through that point, and then graph the line? So let's have you guys do this one first. Let me check it. And then when you're done and I say it's okay, then do the next one. First, this first one, if you want to find a perpendicular slope, the first thing you want to check is what is the current slope? The current slope is -4, so the perpendicular slope is 1/4. It has to go through the point 8,5, so that is y minus 5 equals 1/4 x minus 8, and then you simplify that, you get y equals 1/4 x plus 3. So you start at 3, goes up 1/4. Okay, the second question, if they give you an equation that is not in y equals mx plus b, you have to change it in order to find out what the slope is. So you have to subtract 4x on both sides, divide by 2. Okay, from here, we need the slope, which is -2. We want the parallel slope, which is the same slope. It has to go through the new point that they give you. So this is y equals -2x plus 6. So we start at 6 and it goes down 2/1. Okay, give me a thumbs up if this is very easy, you got it. Sideways, I probably need more practice. Downwards, I don't get it. Okay, all right, now we're on to this cricket question. This is a harder problem, and I actually made it simpler this year. The previous years, I made them all do it without calculator, and then the fractions were crazy, but it makes you kind of be more advanced. But I made it a little bit easier, so hopefully you're not gonna feel as bad. Okay, so the number of cricket chirps per minute depends on the temperature. The number of chirps in 2 seconds for 2 temperatures are shown on the bottom right. What is the equation of the line in standard form? Okay, so you have a very straight line with 2 points that are given. They want you to find the line in standard form. No matter what is the first thing you do? Good, find the slope. All right, no calculator, okay? No calculator. We got to work with fractions this time. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 130/40. Can I simplify that? Yes. What does that become? 13/4. All right. Now I have to find the equation. Which point do you guys want to use? 40, perfect. You want to use the one that's smaller. So y minus y1 equals 13/4 times x minus 40. Okay, find the equation, then change it to standard form. Okay, let's kind of talk about this problem. So in math, we don't want to just like brute force everything. Okay. We don't want to brute force everything, but we want to be smart with how we're going to calculate this. Okay, first of all, what kind of form do they want us to write this in? Standard forms. So then all the coefficients are what? Oh, no. Integers. All the coefficients are integers. So is there a need for us to keep this fraction? No, there is no need to keep this fraction. So we want to just get rid of the fraction from the get-go. So how do we get rid of this fraction? Times 4. This will make everything much easier. So this is 4y equals 13 times x minus 40. Please do not distribute that 4 into the parentheses. That's not how it works. Okay, from this point, you can change it into a standard form and much easier. So go ahead and do that. Let me know when you're done. The answer is 13x minus 4y equals 520. Okay, last question. Now we're going to use this equation and we're going to do some prediction. If the temperature is 70 degrees F, how many times would a cricket be expected to chirp in 1 minute? Okay, so you kind of probably forgot why we even need this line in the first place. This line represents if the temperature is such, how many times do we think the cricket is going to chirp based on that temperature? So then we created a line so that we can predict. So the question is when it's 70, which is like about here, how many times do we think the cricket is going to chirp? That looks like it's about a little less than 100, right? So we need to actually use that line to predict the actual number. How do we do that? So we know the temperature. The temperature is 70, right? Temperature, is it x or y? X. We want to figure out how many times it's going to chirp. What are we looking for, x or y? Y. Correct. So let's take this equation. 13x minus 4y equals 520. We know that x is 70 because that's given to us. We want to figure out y. How do we do that?
Plug it in for each.
Yes, plug it in. So 13, is Isaiah foreseeing this and then shaking his head? No? Okay, so now you got to solve for y. Go ahead and do that. Okay, the answer is 97.5 chirps, or we rounded up to 98 to be actually correct with how many times you can actually chirp.